to Visions of Our People, where we feature brothers and sisters who have followed their vision to build businesses, institutions, or services that serve, profit, and uplift our community. Listen as we share the ideas, experiences, and skills that help to shape their unique stories of commitment, perseverance, and triumph. Be inspired and catch your vision on Visions of Our People. Now, here's our host.
Pamoja Tutashenda, brothers and sisters, together we will win. Today, the Visions of Our People podcast shares the vision of Sister Nkenge Smith. She's the author of a book of poetry entitled The Gifted Curse of Clarity, which is a collection of poetry that delves into the depths of the mind's eye. Each piece tells a story, stories that bring life, loss, and love into the forefront of the reader's emotions. This book does not mince words. It is a raw and unapologetic depiction of life's experiences through the eyes of the author. These pieces represent the purges that are necessary to allow the vessel, that is the mind, to be one of peace rather than poison. It tells the stories that create a space for others to realize they are not alone in their journey. The Gifted Curse of Clarity reaches past the ego and self-doubt and speaks to the God in humans. It is a thoroughly displayed coping mechanism through poetry. This collection of poems shows what happens when life leaves you with no choice other than to create art. My first question for you, Sister Nkenge, is who is Nkenge Smith?
Well, I like to think of myself as an ever-evolving child of the universe. I don't like to put myself in any box, figure, or you never know what you're going to get. I never know what I'm going to get. I try to do right by people. I try to have people do right by me. And I just believe in ever-evolving, ever-changing, trying to stay as connected to the power source as much as possible.
That's great. And that's very smart to stay close to the power source. When did you get the vision to write your book, The Gifted Curse of Clarity?
I would say the vision has been oncoming for a long time. I never knew I really wanted to write a book. I just had all these things I needed to get out of my system. I had to write it down. It was the only way to get it out. I mean, some people scream, some people kickbox, and I wrote. Someone said to me, maybe I should just compile all of my writings and just put it in book form, more like exposing my diary, so to speak, so that I can probably, share it with other people or just try to complete something, so to speak.
Okay, well that leads me into my next question then. So can you explain to us what is the Gifted Curse of Clarity?
The Gifted Curse of Clarity is the curse of knowledge. It is no longer being able to be blissfully unaware. There's no more ignorance to keep you shielded from life. So it's a gift and it's a curse. It's like, okay, I see all of these things, I've experienced so much, and now I know, but on the flip side, now I know. So there's no more shroud of ignorance. There's no, how, you can just laugh. As a child, it's like everything's great. But no longer is everything great, but at least you know, and you know how to move now. So that's kind of where I got the title. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in there about what has brought me to this conclusion of knowledge being a gift and a curse.
Okay, well, to you, from your perspective then, Sister Nkenge, what is the curse part of that?
I guess the loss of innocence. The loss of innocence would be the biggest part of it, or even having an attraction to people that are in need. So you have all of this knowledge, right? Say you're a doctor You're going to always attract people who are in need of that care, who are drawing from you, who need these things from you. And that can be weighing on the spirit, especially if you don't have the tools to block it.
Wow, I see you. I see Mosiah has something to say about that in the background. That's for our listeners. That's Mosiah is Sister Nkenge and brother Moyenda. That's their son. Well, on that note also. So, what would you say is the gift part of the clarity?
The gift part of the clarity is how close you are, like, in tune with the universe. That's a gift, and you cannot be ignorant and in tune. You just won't have the same foresight, like your third eye being open. I can't remember who said this, but it's like to be black in America is always to be enraged.
That's James Baldwin.
James Baldwin, that's right. It's like, it's a gift. I wouldn't take it as that, but it comes with other things. Like, we are healers, like women specifically, blacks generally, we are healers, but look how much responsibility that is.
Yes, that is a huge responsibility, particularly with all of the healing that needs to go on in our community.
That's right. We need a lot of it. It's like two births. Like you're born and then you realize you're black. It's like, okay, there's a dichotomy going on here. Like, all right, now you have this huge responsibility, like, of knowledge. Like, do you share it or do you keep it to yourself? And sharing it comes with having to explain it. Sharing it comes with having to use it for others' benefit, or do you keep it to yourself? And who knows where that gets you? Since
you shared that after you are born, you realize that you are black. When did you realize that you were black, and that made a difference in the world?
Oh, I think I have always known. I grew up in a organization where that was, you're black first before anything else. That is your gift. You're black, and I'm very lucky to have grown up in a society where they highlighted it, because it's almost second nature to people in the outside world, outside of that community. It's like, oh no, you're just a kid. Let kids be kids. It's like, no, you're black, and there's something you need to do with that. It's always been on the forefront of my mind because of how I grew up. It was natural hair. It was community. It was self-love, self-promotion. It was our correct history, in addition to what the schools were teaching. It was black. It was that's who I am. That's who I've always been, and that's what I've always known. But I'm lucky because everybody didn't grow up that way. It's like, some of the kids go to school and they're learning history, but it's only, the history that's in books. It's not black history, so to speak. It's like, oh, our history started at slavery, when slavery interrupted our history. And I knew that from a long time ago.
That's great. Sister Nkenge, would you mind sharing with the listeners what that organization was?
That is the Shrine of the Black Madonna of the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church. That's where I grew up.
Amen.
That's where I cut my teeth for sure.
Amen. Well, moving on, my sister, in your bio, you said that you went from thinking those tiny little bags were cute little Ziplocs to know exactly what they were and how to fill them. What are those cute little Ziploc bags, and what do you fill them with now?
So now, that's great, because in addition to the church that I grew up in teaching us about blackness, we were also very shielded from the outside world. So I did understand that my black was my power, but I did not understand all of the slave culture that surrounded me. So when I say the Ziploc bags, they're little pink and blue and yellow Ziploc bags that surrounded our community. Even though we didn't have access to those things, I'm like, oh, these are cute. And now, when I moved from the protection of the church and moved to Adamsville, I knew then that those were used for drugs. So that was more of my second awakening, you know. So some people find out they're from this side of town. Well, you're Adamsville first, you're West Side first, and then you're black. For me, it was the other way around. It was black first. Oh, now I'm a part of the bigger world. I'm like, okay, because the shrine sheltered me. It might have sheltered me in love, but it sheltered me nevertheless. Mm-hmm. So I did see those outside worlds. I just didn't have that influence. And when I moved away from it, I met different people who didn't have the same upbringing as I did. So I've learned some other things. I've learned what those aren't little cute little Ziploc bags. Those are crack bags, basically. I'm like, okay, so now I know. So that's kind of like how I would say, I cut my teeth here, but I grew up here.
Sister Nkenge, so would you say those two worlds had an impact on your writing?
Absolutely. My writing started off as I love my mom, I love the libraries, and I want a cat. Like, I hadn't published any of those because they're elementary, obviously. And when I got into the outside world, it went, and you know, I wasn't the only one who went to the outside world. My mom came, my dad came. They had different experiences with, you know, 12-year-olds for the first time and a 16-year-old for the first time. So we're all growing and learning together. And with the church, I had built-in friends. Like, you grow up together, you're in the same house. We love as second nature, right? Going into a high school and into a environment where I'm not surrounded by people who have to love you, I learned a lot of things about how other people who grew up on survival versus love live. And it's not always a positive interaction. And there are a lot of people who grow up on survival and not love, and they treat you as such, and they use you as such, and they talk about you poorly, and they don't uplift you. So that had a huge impact on my writing.
So when you say life ain't always been no crystal stairs for you, is that what you mean by that?
That's exactly what I mean. I get some people come to me about the book and how it's so brash, like, oh, this is awful. Like, how can you write like this? The words, the visuals, how do these horrible things come from you? And Langston Hughes said it first, and I believe he was talking mostly about racism and how hard life was. But that's kind of like my answer to that. Like, life ain't been easy. Like, I'm not making these things up. Like, I haven't lived every single one of these experiences, but I know people who have, and I've lived a lot of them. And so that is kind of like my response. Like, life ain't always been no crystal stairs. Like, if you're reading about it, imagine going through it. Yes, it is harsh. Living it was harsh too. Living after it is harsh. You know, there's a lot of folks talk about racism and how they're tired of hearing it, and I kind of feel like people don't want to hear what's in my book. It's too ugly, but it's real. So
you would say that your poetry is real, and that brashness that you talked about?
Yes, it's sometimes life came and hugged me alive, and that was my only comfort. And that's just, I wrote that, like, that was my reality. That's a lot of people's reality. You know, it can be difficult out here, and it is for a lot of people. And, you know, some people need happy endings to feel better, and I understand that. Some people need that. Everybody doesn't want to read or to live or to view the harsh realities of other people's lives. And I get that. That might be their defense mechanism. That's for them. But that's not how I write. That's not how I express myself. Like, I don't know those stories. Those aren't real for me.
Is that why you say that the only thing that you can control is your ability to order words into poetry?
Right. I felt lots of times that I had no control over my body in terms of who touched it, what they did to it, my ability to say no, my self-worth. And I got into a lot of trouble because of it. And writing became my escape. It's like, If I can't do anything else, I know I can write. And no one can tell me how, and no one can tell me when, and no one can tell me where. It's my comfort zone. I have to do it. It does feel like it's the only thing I can control, and pretty much now as well. Like, you can't put your will on humans. You can't put your will on the universe. There's just so many things that you can enjoy, but are also outside of your control. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll get my pen. I don't know what I put out there. I can control that. It's comforting.
Wow. So, Sister Nkenge, you say that writing has become your life sentence. How so?
I think it's the thing I'm going to do time with, the thing I'm going to spend my life doing. It is something I'm compelled to do. And I guess you can liken it to any other thing you're compelled to do. It's like, I got to do it. And it has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do it. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do it. If something hits me, it's like, well, this is what I have to do. This is my journey. This is my passion. I'm going to do this forever.
So how has your craft of writing saved your life?
Well, it's kept me inside instead of going out with friends who weren't doing anything. It's freed me from boredom that can lead to idle hands, and those are the devil's workshop. And it's taken the things that are in my head from bouncing around and keeping me awake and giving me all these, questions and what if and what and why didn't I do better and why didn't I say no or why did I say yes. It's like it's taken that from inside to outside. It's like a transference of energy. It's like I already have it in me. And instead of keeping it bottled up, I write it down. And it's a catharsis. And it's really been empowering. And I needed all of that. I needed to be empowered. I needed to believe in something. I needed to complete something like this book, so I can feel better, so I can do better, so I can see that I am in forward motion.
Speaking of your book, Sister Nkenge, how long did it take you to write your book?
Once I put my mind to it, it took me maybe 3 months. I've had some of these poems. I've written some of them in high school. And a lot of them were new, but I had to compile them and upgrade them a bit, to input my new knowledge about things. But once I put my mind to it, it took me about 3 months. I didn't know anything about it. I had help from a family friend named Cheryl Smith. She helped me a lot putting it together more than anything, and the layout and all this other stuff. I mean, I'm excited to get to the next one. Then, I'll be more professional and knowledgeable and all this other things that I think would make a greater experiment. But it didn't take too long. It was not bad. It was a labor of love, so to speak.
Okay. Well, your brother is an author. Did he give you any help writing your book?
No, we did not.
Shame on him.
Shame on him. No, but to his defense, I did not ask.
Okay.
I did not ask for help.
Okay.
But he is an author of 2 books, I believe.
Yes, he is.
Both.
Okay. Well, it falls in the family. We have writers in the family, the 2 of you. Well, Nkenge, explain what you mean when you say your life is your servitude to stanzas. What does that mean?
So I guess stanzas is kind of like, it's a literary phrase for sentences. So when I say servitude to stanzas, I mean I am in debt to writing. I owe it everything, and I owe it to my creativity to do it. I owe it to my gift to do it. I owe it to the universe to do it, and I want to serve it. I want to heighten it. I want to uplift it, to where I think it needs to be, and hopefully where it will take me.
That's great. And I think Mosiah, he has something to say about that.
It's like, what do you have to? He's always saying something.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I've written about it for sure. It's not been an easy road to get to him, and I'm grateful.
On that note, Would you mind reading us one of your favorite poems?
If Mosiah will let me, I will read one of my favorite poems. This one is The Buck Stops Here, and I put this in the book like last minute. It was just something I wanted to add. It was just a thought I was having. It's called The Buck Stops Here.
Mm-hmm.
It says, our blackness is confrontational in that it makes them confront what they've done. So instead of having that conversation with us, they rather pull out their guns. We were unarmed the last time, but we had to fight. Now we have an arsenal and the knowledge of our rights. No longer will you watch our blood pour without spilling some of your own. We are coming for what's ours, and your life is on loan. No more swallowing promises of a better life ahead. No more shoving down the faith that teaches that there is some white guy up in heaven apparently leaving us on red. Our ancestors are with us, and you will meet yours soon. And as you're calling for white Jesus, the drums will be chanting for Shango and Oshun. You'd better believe that they can hear us, for we are the righteous offspring. We paid them in fruit and honey, and at last you will be our burnt offering. In our quest for our rightful place, we will succeed, for we are done being tired, and we will continue to breathe.
Wow, that was powerful, young lady.
Thank you.
Can I ask you what inspired you to write that?
I would not say any one thing in particular. It is just the position of our people, and I hear all the time from Black folks of how tired we are. We tired. We tired of getting killed. We tired of that. We tired of not being treated fairly in America and abroad. We're tired of the justice system or the injustice system. We're done being tired. And I remember, people chanting in the street, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And I'm just like, no, I can and I will. And there's nothing anybody's going to do about that. It's rooted in anger. It's rooted in being tired of being tired. Like, not even that, just being done with being tired. Like, no, I'm not tired anymore. I'm mad. I'm frustrated. I'm done.
And you're going to do something about it.
And you're going to do something about it.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's powerful, young lady. And I'm just so inspired by your work. And just by, I guess a lot of folks call young folks who have knowledge like you do old souls. But you've been in an environment that did a great job of putting you where you need to be so that you can help other young brothers and sisters, and even the elderly, in terms of your writing. And thank you so much for that. Can you give us your final thoughts about anything you'd like to share with our listeners?
I would like to share the message of love and spirit and light and preserving ourselves by any means, to read more, love more, do more, exercise more, read more, educate yourselves and others more. Just be free. By any means, be free, whether it be by riding, jumping, exercising, loving, traveling. Just be free and be happy.
And that's great. Yes, we would like for all of our brothers and sisters around the world to be free and to be who God created us all to be. And thank you for your contribution to that effort. And in our church, we call that the science of cool, becoming who you already are, and you have definitely become, and you're still becoming all that God created you to be. Sister Nkenge, can you tell our listeners how they can access your book?
Absolutely. You can go to lulu.com, that's LULU.com, and you look for The Gifted Curse of Clarity by Nakedzi Smith. Hopefully soon they'll be in some bookstores. If you're from the Shrine, you'll know my mom and Sister Uyemana, and they always have some on hand, and I can make sure that they do. Or you can always inbox me on Facebook. I can send it to you directly.
Thank you so much. Do you have a website in the working?
You can go to Nkenge.Smith that's at Yahoo. That's my email, or you can find me on Facebook, Nakedzi Smith, and I've got the information there.
All right, great. Thank you so much for joining us, young lady, and we appreciate you. We bless you, and we pray that you continue to do good work in your next book.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Sometimes you're off when it feels like on. Sometimes you can't tell the night from dawn. Did the earth move or did you take a turn? Did you just get hot or did you just get burned? Open up your eyes and take a deep breath. Hold on tight while you hope for the best. You see, falling down feels a lot like flying. Giving birth feels so much like dying. So spread your wings. Don't you fall. Come down on your own. If you come down at all, spread your wings. Don't you fall. Don't you fall. Don't you fall.
You have been listening to Sister Nakedzi Smith, the author of a book of poetry entitled The Gifted Curse of Clarity, which is a collection of poetry that delves into the depths of the mind's eye. You can order The Gifted Curse of Clarity on Lulu, or by contacting Sister Nakedzi by emailing her at nakedzi.smith@yahoo.com or on facebook.com/Nkenge Smith. Brothers and sisters, you can follow Visions of Our People on YouTube and Facebook. You can contact us by email at kefingmoor@aol.com to make any comments, or you can contribute to our podcast on Cash App at $Kefing Moor. Join us again for more Visions of Our People.
Thank you for joining us for Visions of Our People. We hope that our stories of commitment, perseverance, and triumph have inspired you to follow your vision of creating businesses, institutions, and services that uplift our brothers and sisters, serve our community, and make us the great people that our Creator made us to be. We wish you peace and blessings, and we invite you to join us again for Visions of Our People.